Hi everybody, thanks so much for joining us this evening. It's a bit of an interesting one if you're in the UK. Obviously we've got the football, which is going to be on, I think it's at 8 o'clock, so you're still okay. You don't need to disappear for that. But folks, as usual, if you just let me know in the chat that you can see the countdown and can hear my voice, and also that the volume level for my voice is good, then at least we know that that's working. But really looking forward to this one. You wait till you see the promo I've done for this one. You're going to love it. Alrighty, that's great. Thanks so much for letting me know that you can see the countdown and you can hear it coming through fine as well. Lots we're going to go through tonight. I think this hour is going to go super fast because Russell's got so much that we're going to go through. He's going to even share his screen to give us a look at the layers on some of the images that he's put together, but some very, very interesting pictures. I can't wait for you to see the promo. I really can't. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me yet again for another week, another live broadcast, which almost didn't happen. I was getting a bit touch and go earlier on because today I've been in Wales with some friends again in my friend Ian Munro's studio doing a portrait of our great friend Foxy. And timing was going good until I got onto the motorway to come home, thinking I'd left myself plenty of time. And then all of a sudden, there was just bright lights in front of me and it was getting a bit touch and go. But no, I am back. I'm here. I've had time to relax and we're good to go. So really looking forward to this one. Great to see the chat room already. And there's some other names in there I've noticed. I've noticed some Rockies in there. I've seen them in there. So it's nice to see some people diving in. I know why. I know why you're there. It's because Russell Preston Brown is on. So Can't wait to share what we're going to talk about this evening, and I can't wait to share you his promo. But before we do that, just a couple of admin things as I do every single week. First of all is I did say last week that the printing course pre-order would have been on Friday, just gone. Now, the end of the week got manic. It really did get manic. It's still going to be released on Friday, the 30th of August, but the pre-order for the printing course will be this Friday. Okay, so I know Nigel, last week's guest, he was asking me today, he went, is it available? Is it available? So it will definitely be Friday of this coming week, which is that one thing. And also just another couple of little things to let you know about. I'm trying out a new portrait style. For quite some time, I've been shooting portraits with an 85mm lens, and I've absolutely loved it. Really, really loved it. But I want to try something different, and I've started to use my 55mm prime lens. The difference, it's hard to put into words how different it is, but it's just a different look. Some would say that it gives a more natural look to what the eye would see. Do you know what I mean? It kind of just a more natural kind of shape and perspective and everything to the face. I don't know what it is, but it's just brilliant. But what I have done, if I just dive over to my screen just for a second, I did a picture of my friend Anthony, who's in the chat, and I've done a behind the scenes blog post to show the portrait and also take you through the setup, so you can see all the setup with the lighting just there, constant lighting, the kit that I used, all that's there, and a little bit of kind of thoughts and stuff. But I mentioned at the bottom there the Lightroom community profile page that I've got. So let me just dive over to that. And again, I do mention this quite a bit now because there is so much on this. But this is my Lightroom community profile page. I've got a few images on here which I've uploaded, all edited only using Lightroom. And you'll see when you put your cursor over, you can see the before and after. And this is the portrait of Anthony. And if I click on that, the advantage of you kind of seeing this is that you can get to see every single retouching step that I did here. You can press on the picture to see almost like a time lapse of those settings being done. But you can also save them as a preset or do a remix. And the remix, basically what that means is when you click on remix, it basically means that you can then get hold of a smart preview of my original RAW file. So that'll come into your Lightroom, and then you can edit it as well. So you could follow along with the steps that I've done or do your own version. And it's really interesting when people do their own versions. I see them come up at the bottom just to see how other people interpret what they would do. So that's quite an interesting thing, but it's a great learning resource, the Lightroom community profile. So I'd highly recommend that you check out that community page. I'll put the links to that in the description of this and on the blog post that will be on Russell's about Russell's talk that we're giving tonight. But who is Russell Preston Brown? Well, to kick off, unsurprisingly, he's the Senior Creative Director at Adobe, as well as an Emmy award-winning instructor. I never knew that. And for so many people around the world, I think it's fair to say that if you mention Photoshop and you mention creativity, then the name Russell Preston Brown inevitably comes up. And also over the years, like many others, I'd often turn to the fantastic russellbrown.com website, which he's got so much resources on there just to learn Photoshop, but also just dive over there to be inspired. And I used to find it was encouraging. It kind of helps you to think outside the box, because if there's anyone, and you'll see this tonight, that pushes creativity, it is definitely Russell. His energy and excitement for being creative is obvious, and it's contagious, and it's simply impossible to quantify the many thousands of people he's directly and indirectly helped to learn new creative skills, and probably in equal measure helped so many people like myself to have a career in this creative space. So folks, this is Russell Preston Brown. Woo! What a ride. And I think more than anything, look at this sums it up. I saw this comment just quickly come in here. Lee Churchill. Oh my God. Totally. I totally get it. Unbelievable stuff. Let's bring the main man in. I've got to remember to unmute him. And then I'm going to go to here and say, Russell, can you hear me?
That's really, I was shocked by my own presentation. I think,
wow.
When you hear it to that music, and then you see it all fly, and nicely timed, very well done.
Thank you.
I'm glad you showed this to me the first time. It's, I'm going, hey, I'm pretty good. Okay. That's good stuff. And you said I can swear. That's good shit. That is good shit.
You can swear. Listen, I told you we had Lisa Carney on. We're okay. We're fine.
Yeah. Meow, meow.
Unbelievable.
Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm
good.
Sort of
Well,
back. I think, we post things and we see one thing at a time, but we don't often see everything as this sort of retrospective, and you just don't all see it to music. So I'm still a little shocked. A very good job. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment, because I always watch, because obviously when that's playing, I can see you to my side here on another screen, and I'm thinking, I try to prejudge.
I was pretty deadpan face.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I was doing that thing, thinking, oh, doesn't he like it? But no. I'll take that as a compliment. That's great. That really is good. But yeah, it's just a wonderful, wonderful body of work. Incredibly creative, which is what I was talking about before I brought you in and showed the promo. But such a variation. But like you said, it does make a huge difference when you see work that you know it, you did it. But when you see it to music, it's a totally different thing, isn't it? It really, totally really is.
And cool. Somebody else creates it. Then so it's quite impressive.
There you go. Cool.
I was impressed. I would stick around for this. I'm not gonna.
Well, listen. There's obviously lots that we're going to go through. I know that it's wonderful that you're prepared to kind of give us a little bit of a look behind the scenes as well in making some of the images that I've certainly picked out. For I'd love to know more about that one, and there's a couple that I didn't that you want to show, which is great. But before we get into that, let's kind of get ourselves, even if we need to kind of warm up. There's what I often do with people is, look, when we first come in, is how did you get to be doing what you're doing now? Is it possible? Is it at all possible with all that you've done to give a potted history of what's got you to where you are now?
I can't put it in one sentence, but so this is the 40th year at Adobe. Okay, that you have to sort of absorb that. Who stays at one company for 40 years? So you started Adobe in 1985, and you're a graphic designer. And I don't have very little to do with photography, but it was the introduction of the iPhone that turned me into a photographer. And I started to take more and more photographs. I started to hang around, the Greg Gormans and Joel Grimes of the world and get ideas from them. And so I transformed into a photographer over a 40-year span at Adobe. So from graphic designer doing annual reports to doing photography and promoting things. Wait, one more thing. You mentioned earlier my website. I don't put anything on my website anymore. Websites are from something from the 80s. Everything is now. If you want to find out about me, you go to Instagram. That's Dr_Brown.
Oh, there we go. In fact,
that's where I hide everything.
There you go.
I
got it there. Look,
I've transformed. I've mutated into something else. An influencer on Instagram rather than all those tutorials. The tutorials are still out there, but really focusing. Okay, there it is.
I remember.
That's how you.
I remember diving onto that website so often because you used to do like real bite-sized chunks. It wasn't like lengthy tutorials. They were like, right, this is how I do this, bang, 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 in your own, in the only way that you could deliver it, which made it entertaining, memorable
Yes.
and repeatable. Do you know what I mean? So
If you don't entertain while you're educating, you know this, a little bit of entertainment, you're going to lose them. And how many times have we watched a tutorial and it's like you look at that heart scan, it's like the brain's
Flatlining.
dead, flatline, gotta throw in a little, hey, everybody, what about the option key?
Yeah. Well, do you know what?
Yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things, I've got like a crib sheet here of things that I need to remember to ask you. And one of them was to do
start with the questions. I work really well with questions. Just
all right. Well,
throw them at
the first one then it's a bit of a combined one then. Because you say how you first of all started off with Adobe doing like the graphic design stuff, and then that kind of transitioned into where we are now. But the Dr. Brown side of things, and dare I say, the persona, the character, where did that come from? Are we talking that? Is that a character you created, or because I didn't know you obviously beforehand? So the Russell that I know is just like addictive viewing. So is that Russell, or is that a stage Russell, or what?
There's a stage Russell. There's I'm a introverted extrovert. So when I get on stage, I turn into a character and I'm very expressive. And then if you were to meet me at a party, I'm going, who's that guy over there? He doesn't talking with anybody. So I just transition into being extremely quiet or very, very outgoing on stage. I had started wearing costumes. I picked up on Doc Brown from Back to the Future, and a friend of mine started calling me Doc, and then others started calling me Doc. And then when Instagram came
Probably
along,
right the first time.
I put DR in my name. I thought, I'll put doctor in my name. And in my grand wisdom, why didn't I just put Doc Brown? I thought, well, no, you've got to put an underscore in it because we're in the world of there can't be a space in the name, so I better put an underscore in. And what a fool. You didn't have to put an underscore. So I think I'm going to attribute this to a good friend who started calling me Doc, and then I sort of went with it. And of course, Scott Kelby picked up on this, and I dressed up as Doc Brown in his for his video that he ran with one of the Photoshop World conferences.
That's right. Yeah.
So, that was insane. I did a very good job. I got an Academy Award for that acting.
Well, I remember when we were out actually at one of the Photoshop Worlds. It would have been the Washington one, and me and Dave Clayton, who's also in the chat just there, and we had a picture of the three of us. You were all dressed up there, and then we were kind of like either side of you, giving it. It's just classic, absolute classic. But yeah,
I dressed up as Lincoln. That was
that's it.
And walking around Washington D.C. That was quite the character.
So Russell, that's obviously the character. That was definitely one of the things I wanted to ask you here, where that originated from. So thanks for kind of doing that. But when it comes to the ideas, because that already, when I'm playing that promo and you can see some of the comments that are coming in to do with that, I mean, it's such a varied sort of body of work. Do you know what I mean? You've got these kind of balancing acts. You've got some light trails. You've got nighttime stuff. You've got yourself dressed up. There's all kinds of stuff going on there. Where does that come from? I'm really interested to know where the ideas come from.
Believe it or not, some of it comes from hallucinations, but I am like you. I am scanning social media for ideas and for people like you have on the screen now. You've got a buffalo, a bison that you can ride, for example. I see these things and immediately my brain just goes berserk and hallucinates about the possibilities of what you could do with a bison or what you could do with a hiker at night. I am absorbing, and I recommend this for everybody, just absorb as much as you can for everything around you, from, magazines, if they still exist, to social media, publications. Um, I I borrow from everyone. I'm
Mm.
surprised. I'm surprised you haven't seen that. I'm certainly borrowed from you. Hey, you post something, and go, "Well, what an interesting portrait idea," and then I'll go out and attempt and give it a try.
Yeah.
Um, it's I don't do you, I wake up at 3 a.m. with these hallucinations of a photograph I should shoot. Do you do that? Do you ever have
I
that? Yeah.
I wake up at 3 a.m., but it's not necessarily because I've thought of something. It's for
Oh,
another reason.
you
But because I'm
I've
at
had
that
that
age.
I've had that similar reason.
But
But the 3 a.m. of photographic hallucinations are a wonderful time to see these visions. And so, where do these ideas come from? You're motivated, you're inspired by other people's work. You see a model with a particular
yeah.
talent, and I love models. I love acrobatic models. I've been to Vegas doing photography about 1 billion times, and I have to make a shout out to Rocky Montez Carr at this time, because if I don't, I'll lose all my bonus points with him. Because when you go to Las Vegas, you're going to do a photo shoot, you have to have a Rocky Montez Carr with you. He is the best behind the scenes documentary photographer. And sometimes it's the behind the scenes photography
Mm.
that is better than your own photography. Don't tell Rocky this, but
Oh, he
people,
knows. He's
I don't
listening.
know.
I can see.
Okay.
He's just
Do
like, there
you
you go.
know,
Look.
do you have people taking behind the scenes of your work, and you show the behind the scenes, and it's a picture's worth 1,000 words. Your viewers, you can educate them in a single picture. Oh, he was using 2 lights. And he had a backdrop. Oh, and that's a real reflection. He had water on the floor. All this information is given to them, and then the real trick is a video. Hey, are they seeing these pictures on the screen that you're showing
They
me on the
are.
screen
Yeah,
while I'm
yeah,
printing? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, there's a Rocky moment. Rocky's running around there at that early morning while I'm photographing these guys. My gosh, talent. And here, I'm making another point here. Pay your talent well. No, I must
Yes.
admit, these guys would admit, these guys were both totally high on psilocybin mushrooms that morning.
All right. Okay.
I think they think it's okay, but even high on the psilocybin mushrooms, you can do a performance like that. It just goes to show you. What was I going to say about performers? Oh, pay your performers well so they can buy all the psilocybin they can find. Now,
Okay.
I wonder if we'll ask Rocky later how much trouble I'm going to get into. No, I won't get into too much trouble. Those are the they're called the 𝐓𝐡𝐞 lads, FOOK, 𝐓𝐡𝐞, the lads out of uh, Las Vegas. So where was I going? Behind the scenes photography, super wonderful. Now that's for an educator like we are. Yeah, amazing stuff. Oh, hey, you're going to have me talk about photos. Finding the right guide. In that case, I've got Dave Williams here.
Yeah,
If you're in Iceland, then you have Dave Williams. I was in Canada with Chris Andres. I'm with an amazing model in Norway and touring with Dave. My gosh, if you're going to go to Norway, and Dave is setting up shop there and starting a full tour guide business, it is the guide at these locations. And for aurora shots, you really want to stay in bed at 3 a.m., but the aurora guide has to be banging on your door. Get the heck up. you lazy bum. The aurora is up, and it's up now. Yeah, you're jumping me around on, how do you get these right photos? What inspires you to get the photos? Your insane hallucinations. But what gets the great shot is getting to the right place at the right time, because, hey, I'm just photographing with a phone. Yeah, we got to point this out. You didn't ask me. You can ask me the big question. Why the heck does he photograph with just a phone? Go.
No,
okay,
well, I'm gonna get to that, but I mean, as I hear you talking here, and again, like I'm going back to there is an extreme body of work there, and it's very often that I see you posting content on Instagram, new content. So, are you somebody? Because I know I have this. Are you somebody that gets very restless when it comes to right? I've planned, I've prepared, I've executed this particular shot. Right, that's all done. Then straight away, like, oh, I need to be doing something else. Are you that kind of person?
Oh gosh. Oh, heaven help me. I'm Mr. Anxiety Attack. If I sit around too much, I get anxiety. If I've taken a photograph that's sitting on my, in my camera or in my phone, and I'm not publishing it, I get anxiety. I see someone's really great work, I get anxiety. I'm driven by this passion to create and publish it. I'm like, okay, I could fall over dead, and I didn't get anything published at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is my publishing time. 6 a.m. I don't know is that. Is 6 a.m. my time? Is that like 11 in the morning your time? I don't know what. Something like
will
that.
Be. Yeah.
And so, what is it about 6 a.m.? That's this anxiety. I think, whew, okay, I got that done. I posted something. Thank goodness I posted something. But I do have I have an addiction disorder, and it's a problem. And I guess it's good for creativity, but I've got to get something out, and I got to get something out into the world.
Yeah, I've always had that same kind of thing. Is that I always feel like I'm only as good as my last picture. Do you know what I mean? Rather than riding on the success of previous stuff, I'm like, right, that's done now. Park that. Move on to the next thing.
You're hitting right. You're stabbing me exactly where it all hurts. This sort of anxiety to publish the creativity. We're only as good as the last image we published. You're terrible. Terrible. Okay, tell me something else about myself that I
Well, I mean, Rocky
know.
here. Rocky's been very revealing. He says, he twitches if he isn't doing something to keep him busy.
It's so true. So true. I'm the one who can go in. I would go into a presentation that I'm giving. If I walk into my own presentation, and I would get anxious, like, why am I wasting time here watching this guy? I should be out doing photography. So my fuse is very short on my patience level, but I think that has something to do with age. Don't you feel this is happening with age as well?
I think, I in fact, when I was with some friends earlier on, we all talk about it, that it seems that the older you get, you become less tolerant of the things that you tolerated before. You just do, and you think, what does it matter? I'm this age now. I'll just say it as it is, or I won't bother doing that or whatever. Yeah, it definitely changes with age. Definitely does.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad
we'll get
thing.
off that.
We'll get off that. But listen, you mentioned the photography. You mentioned the photography. Obviously, that you mentioned earlier on about the iPhone and how that was a pivotal point in changing you to doing what you're doing now. So I guess the obvious question is, what is it about the iPhone? Because obviously we do have all kinds of different cameras that all these different camera companies produce that are portable, and we can put them in the back pocket and stuff like that. But what is it about the iPhone in particular? And when I say iPhone, if you're okay with it, I'll put /mobile photography to encompass other brands of camera. But what is it
very
about
good,
it?
very good. I shoot with both the Samsung S23 and currently the iPhone 15 Pro. Okay, here's the part of the equation I didn't mention. What is it about the iPhone? Simplicity, speed, and here comes the pitch, Lightroom Mobile. It was Lightroom Mobile in combination with the phone that really shot off. So if you graph this, it's starting off slow with the introduction of the iPhone, but then the introduction of Lightroom, oh my goodness. All my photos went right into Lightroom. You can immediately edit them. There's no transfer, there's no card, there's no reader, and they're backed up into the cloud immediately. Wow, that was just a revelation to me that I didn't have to, it was just immediate. And then the applications on the phone, special effects built into the phone, filters, effects, storage, all of those items right in the phone. And then the resolution started getting better and better. And it just drew me farther and farther in, pulling me in to this world. My resolution is very slow. It's very small. I still make digital prints. I print with a Canon GP2000. It has fluorescent inks. It's a nifty 24-inch printer in my office. I'm taking these images up to about 13 by 19 from my phone. That's perfectly good. Technologies today, as we both know, you're about to ask me, how has AI changed my life? In a big way. Yeah, we'll get to that. So this technology is just getting better and better, and all the capabilities are there in this small device that and plus, oh, here's the biggie. Do you know how much the weight of glass? Glass weighs a lot when you have to carry around a big lens or a lot of camera equipment. And that is the beauty of it. I want to be so lightweight and simple that I can carry it and it can fit into a suitcase. You're going to say something. Go for it.
Well, because you are the most prolific iPhone photographer that I know, and you're doing some stuff with it that is just like, I don't see anybody else doing what you're doing. And it's interesting that you say there, you're talking about, ordinarily lenses with cameras. It's big, it's bulky. If anything, it can be a turn off for creativity when you're having to take so much kit with you. But the iPhone mobile photography doesn't do that. However, when you said that, it made me think about, companies that do produce third-party lenses and stuff like that, to expand the capabilities of things like the iPhone and the Samsung and whatever. What's your opinion on those? Have you ever tried them? Do you use them? Or
here, over here, I have an answer. So good of you to ask. Now, this is nothing against all those companies, but I do not use them. I do not think it's worth your time and effort. Oh my gosh, here it comes, to carry around those lenses. You can, I don't think they aid to your photography. I think they slow you down. You said it. The iPhone or the phone photography is all about speed, capturing the moment. I used to use those lenses, but I think Apple and Samsung have stepped up and brought us a really nice wide angle and a really nice telephoto. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, I don't recommend it. I think you stick with the lenses that are in your phone and don't fool around with it. And I must admit, I heard Scott Kelby say the same thing. So I'm feeling pretty confident about this.
Yeah, I
Though
agree. I mean,
I'm
I have had a relationship with, and I still have, with a company that produces this kind of stuff. And it was interesting that I got my wife to.
Let's not say those names. Don't say
No,
those
no,
names.
no, we won't. But I had their kit, and I was going to produce like a little behind the scenes video of how I'm using them. And my wife was there, ably helping me out. She had the little Osmo and whatever, filming me. And I was taking off a lens, and then I was putting a different lens on. And then, there's a filter. So I was putting the filter on, and I was getting another filter out. And I was like, sausage fingers trying to put all this stuff on. And my wife just totally unprompted said, God, that's a faff, isn't it? That's fiddly. I was like, actually, do you know what? It was almost like a revelation. It's like, yeah,
faff?
You're right, it is.
You said
a faff.
What's a? Oh, I love it. Today's new word.
What a
faff.
A faff. What a pain in the derriere that is to do that. Is basically what she was saying. It was like a faff. Yeah, there you go. You can have that one.
No one's here going to understand.
And it was like a revelation. It's like, you know what? You are right. So I kind of like just never bothered again. And then so I'm totally with you. But Russell, what apps then? Okay, and I can only talk about and get you to talk about iPhone apps. But when it comes to apps, then for the kind of stuff that you're doing that we've seen so far with your images popping up on the screen, are there anything that you say? Oh, you need to get this one.
There's two. If you're going to do any night photography, which the iPhone does a great night photo, but if you want to do time lapse or stars streaking, car lights, you need to have something called slow shutter on the iPhone, or even longer. Now those sounds like crazy. So even longer is the name of the application that you find in the Apple App Store, and slow shutter is the name of the app. Those are the two apps that I would definitely have on my phone. They can get star trails, light trails. They can do things that the iPhone's built-in camera cannot do. And that's what you're looking for. And I've looked at all the others. And the three that I use is the even longer, slow shutter, and then, of course, I'm the maniac. I'm one of the few maniacs on the planet who shoots a strobe with their iPhone.
We're going to talk about that.
So I use the Pro Photo camera app. And here's the trick on the Samsung. The Samsung has a true shutter. And so for long exposures, time lapse, you can do all of that in the Samsung, in their built-in camera. And so you do not need a third-party app on the Samsung. You just need their apps. Really super. And the Samsung is like using a real camera. If I want a 20-second exposure, you set it for 20 seconds. And you don't have to trick it. The iPhone can only shoot a 1-second exposure, and you need an application like slow shutter to trick it into believing that it's 20 seconds of 1-second exposures that you're combining together. Pretty tricky of them. And so, in most cases, I'll pull up the iPhone app for 95% of my work, but then when I jump to night photography and special effects, lightning photography, oh my goodness, the setting the lightning photography. If you set up your phone, there's no trigger to set. You can't sit there and go, okay, I got the lightning. No, there's none of that. With lightning photography, the only way to do that is with slow shutter, and you start it, and it's shooting this video of the lightning, and don't move the tripod, don't move anything, and then you're waiting for the lightning, and the lightning strikes, and we're both familiar with the blend mode in Photoshop of screen where it lightens, so the lightning lightens the image but only in areas where it's striking. The rest of the image is left as it is. So you then have this bolt of lightning coming through your image. And then you stop your camera. You stop the exposure at that time. And I did this at Monument Valley over these mittens are sitting in Monument Valley. And the storm comes through. I was extremely lucky. And you can capture things like that. So yeah, there are occasions when you can, and that's the beauty of a phone, is that you can get these specialized applications to help you with specialized projects like that.
Cool. Well,
I don't know where we were going. You inspire me with the next question.
I was going to say, well, I want to talk to you about kit, but before we do, let's just have a very quick break. So I'm going to have a sip
We're allowed to have
water. A sip of water. Let's just have a quick break, because then when we come back, I want to ask you about kit as well, because I know before we went live, you were talking about kit that you use with your phone, which I was really surprised. But then when you explained it, I thought it makes sense, and it's probably the best thing you could possibly do is to have some of this kit that you've got. So we'll go through that, and then I know that you also want to share some behind the scenes of or go through some of the images. Let's have a bit of a breakdown on that. But let's have a quick break. I'll mute you just for a second. And then I'll come back to you. Right. My God, I am scribbling like crazy here, so I don't forget any of this stuff. But let's have a quick break just so while we do lubricate a little bit. I'll play the BenQ. I'll play the, no, actually I won't. I'll play the 𝐻𝐶 video to do with that L60, because today I was using it. So I think that's probably the best one to play. The Constant Light, which I absolutely love. I'll play that, then we'll dive back on with Russell. Alrighty. Okay. So while that was on, I was doing some more scribbling.
I want those lights.
Well, they've just brought out a new one. It's called the L120B, which is twice as powerful as that. So it's 120 watts, which is really cool.
The secret is the size. They were holding that in their hand, and the same is true of the Pro Photo. It's got to be small and powerful.
Yeah.
And there are times when you need constant light like that. And I do like strobe for its freezing capabilities, but I do love constant. I'm going to have to take a look at those lights. Evil showing toys.
I'll do a mutual email between you and Brandon from 𝐻𝐶 after this, so you guys can have a bit of a conversation.
I know Brandon.
Oh, well, there you go then. Yeah.
I'll write him a message.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk kit then.
We do want to talk about. Are we going to talk about some of my images? Because I want to reveal.
All right then.
I want to reveal to your audience that it's not always. I cheat.
Okay.
Let's just get right to it.
All right, let's get right to it then. I'll bring up an image. Shall I bring up? Let's have a look at it.
Bring up this first image, and is that the?
Should we go with that one first?
Yeah, I can bring that one up. Your audience is going to freak out when they see this and go.
Okay.
So
you're going to screen share now. So let me know.
So I'll
dive over to your screen.
Okay.
So let's have a look at it.
Let me
Okay,
see.
so we can see your screen now, Russell.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. So, when you look at this image, do you believe this image? Do you want to believe this image? Is that right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Okay. Most people want to believe this image, and there are the phones are very good at daytime photography. So I learned a technique. I'm going to reveal a technique here today. I'm going to offend many people, and I want you to look at the people online and count the number of people who tune out the moment I turn off these layers. They're going to, oh, what an evil, evil person. Now, I don't lie. I don't lie when I put these online. I tell the world, and I find I have to. I'm scrutinized, and I have my fair share of trolls who follow me and say, you know, Russ, you didn't tell us the truth. So here's the truth. I'm going to strip away the layers on this step by step. It's a total fake image. However, it is made from all phone photography. So in Photoshop, you start to take away the highlights in the image. You start to take away certain highlights, the path to the image. You start to take away a glow on the horizon. We're starting to take away the stars, which were photographed with the Samsung phone, and they're placed into position. A little bit more glow on the horizon. What is causing the path, the lights to appear on the image? Well, that is a mask. Let's cancel from that. Let's go over here to my option key. Let's see if I can reveal this. So this is a mask that I'm applying to to the levels. And if you use the output adjustments on levels, then you can take this daytime photograph. Yes. Did you count the number of people who've tuned out? So you can take
We've
a
actually
daytime
gained a
photograph.
couple. We gained a couple,
oh, no.
I believe.
Oh no. So you can take a daytime photo, and check this out. Here's your user tip and technique of the day. You take the output levels here from the white point and move it in on a daytime photo, and it turns a daytime photo to nighttime. Oh, it's terrible. Terrible, the evil things he does. Because we're remapping all the white levels to a new level. This is, I'm speaking through you now because I can hear you saying this in a tutorial. We're remapping the white levels so that these daytime brightness. But here's the trick. You make a mask. Remember that mask, and you reveal through that mask. You reveal daylight through the mask. Did I describe that right? I'm revealing daylight through the mask and then tricking the world. And if I reveal daylight through the mask, then we can go back in time here and see how the daylight comes through only in those areas that we've left the mask. And I found this trick. And then you scribble with a white line with your tablet to create the path as if this hiker walked up there and you were doing this time lapse. And where did I get the idea from this? I saw somebody who had painstakingly stayed up all night and done this. And the last thing that a lazy person like me wants to do is to stay up all night and get the Milky Way and get this person hiking up the mountain. I fake it. I totally fake it. And this is the world's worst. But it came out really well. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, you say fake there, Russell, but like your friend of mine, Joel Grimes, says, sell the fake. And
fake.
You definitely did.
You sell that. You've got to be good enough at Photoshop that you can think like this and look at somebody's real long exposure of, you've seen these, right? You've seen where the
Yeah.
long exposure where the hikers are hiking up the mountain or the skiers are coming down the slope. I've always wanted to do that, but we are selling the fake. We're selling the fake. So there, yeah, this is the worst. I'm going to tell you more about selling the fake. Selling the fake.
Wow.
Okay, get ready. This is an amazing thing. I call it the needle, but many people call it what do they call it? Long dong silver. Terrible. And Rocky and I were out here in the daytime. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So again, that daytime trick, using levels adjustments, and then bringing in a screen, bring in your light sources and use your blending modes of a screen blending mode with light sources to drop in a light source coming down, and then highlight your subject. Tell a story. You're an illustrator. And I used to do all of this stuff with layers and just in Photoshop, and just really good Photoshop skills. But I'm going to switch gears on you and show you the future. I'm going to jump ahead because we have to. AI has changed my world. It's changed your world. It's changed every creative's world. It scares people to death. But ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, it is a creativity tool, and it is only as smart as you are. You can run it and you can make some amazing things from scratch, but the real future of this is taking your existing photographs and bringing them to life. And here you are in the desert. It looks pretty good. You think, oh, that's great, but those footprints are driving you batshit, and they're gone. And then and you think, well, those wrinkles in the dress and the sand, what if it was, coming in on the dress? Take it to another level, and then drop in a sky. Yeah. But wait, there's more. Where you pointed this out as one of your favorite photos.
Yeah.
Let's just shot with a phone, shot with a strobe. Really wonderful. I capture the moment. But my latest thing is all about floating fabric with generative AI. And so those aren't real. These are fabric that's been generated. And let's bring up our, you can see all the different.
When I saw that, Russell, I was thinking that the fabric, at least one of them I thought was real, and then reflection was fake. That's what I thought.
Yeah, okay. See, I didn't sell the fake. I didn't.
No, but I thought knowing you as I do and what we've talked about. Let me just quickly dive back, so it's just me and you, just for a second. When because obviously we were talking about it, you were kind of almost apologetic when we were first talking about doing this, and you said, but Glenn says, I use AI. I use a lot of AI in my images, and I'm like, what's the problem? Do you know what I mean? This is how you create, how are currently creating your art. You've still got to think about the whole thing. It's not a case of anybody can do it. Not anybody can think about it. That's the key thing.
Yeah. That's what I said. Your work is only as smart as you are. AI doesn't know to put the fabric there. Doesn't know that it should be red. Doesn't know that. And you get to select it and warp it into position. You need to, don't let your AI drive your life. Let you drive. You should drive.
But when
AI.
you said you didn't fool me, you did. It's just that what you'd said prior to us doing this, I look at the image expecting there to be it, because you've said that you use it. So I'm thinking, okay, so if he's used it, which he's telling me he has, where? So that's what it is. Although if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have known which of your images would have had it used.
Ah,
Because that, when you've just revealed
yeah,
that one of the guy, the hiker going up there, I
yeah.
honestly didn't know. I was thinking, how on earth has he timed it with all that? And now we know. But this
No,
is great.
there's
This kind of breakdown's
a
great because
magi-
it makes
a ma-
this is people are
yeah.
seeing this now and they're going, I never thought of using Photoshop like that.
Yes. Should a magician show how they cut the woman in half? Let me ask you that. Should I show you how I cut the woman in half, or should you just she wasn't cut in half, but we don't show you?
Yeah.
I'm posing this question. Should I often hesitate showing how I've cut the woman in half?
Well, you
What are
would
your
be
thoughts on
kicked
that?
out of the magic circle for revealing the
Yeah,
secrets, but
yeah.
there was a program on TV. I don't know if you had it in the US, but was it called The Masked Magician, a Masked Magician, or something like that, where the guy
Yes,
would
yes.
reveal, and he would reveal how those tricks were done,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
didn't
I
take
didn't like it.
away the creativity of what had been done. You're like, I never knew that. I never thought they'd do it like that, you know? So it's equally as enjoyable to me. So,
Here's another tip and technique. Notice
let's just dive over
says
to your screen.
semi.
There we go.
I say semi-transparent, flowing red fabric. Okay,
Hmm.
you can say semi-transparent flowing fabric and does a pretty good job. But just for your followers, I always set the opacity down for the layer to get fabric to look more realistic.
Right.
If you're going to put a piece of fabric into your shot, go ahead and set it down, change the opacity, and it makes it much more realistic. Sorry, I was looking at I was driving my Photoshop. I forgot that, but you've got this nice inset. Look, I'm there talking while
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
at my, okay, well, you're very tricky. You are a professional at this.
I fake
So,
it. Don't worry.
yeah, fake it. No. So, I think the message that we both wanted to bring is let your creativity, your hallucinations, your creativity go crazy with AI and have it help you enhance your images. I am not going to type into my screen a beautiful ballet dancer stepping into water with reflections and fabric floating in the sky. Boring, boring. Life would be boring if you don't get out and take some of your own photographs. Oh my goodness, I just want to slap people. Slap them. if your idea of photography is sitting in your chair, then you haven't figured it out.
You missed the point completely. There's a great, actually, just perfect timing there, Russell. There's a comment just coming in from one of my closest friends, Ian Monroe. He's put, here is a situation of 25% photography, 25% editing, and 50% unbridled creativity. Go do what you will. Awesome. Couldn't have said it better. That's perfect.
I like Ian. I like this guy. Is he British?
He is. Yeah, he's a British guy, Welsh through and through. It's one of my
Welsh.
Yeah. He proper is. On the valleys.
He
Top fella.
Yeah, that was very good. I may copy that and call that my slide. I use that in my next presentation. I rip off Ian completely, and I'll just call it borrow, like I borrow from other photographers. Well, I guess that's borrowing from him. Yeah, that's the message that we want to bring across with my creativity is get out there and take more photographs, be creative, with whatever camera you have, and use these amazing new tools. Oh my goodness. There isn't a time that I don't select something and if my mustache isn't looking quite right, my bow tie isn't looking quite right, it's such an amazing technology, and I am blessed to be alive today to have this much technology, given the fact that, hey, I started in the darkroom in 1973 with negatives in a bath of chemistry, and I thought I was cheating then when I dodged and burned with my hand to, make something brighter or darker, or I used a piece of film or some special technique to adjust the emulsion. Oh, the old technique, you bring up the paper out of the tray and you start breathing on the paper so you could heat up the chemistry so that it would get darker in just that region where you were heating it up. Those stupid tricks from the set 1973 that you learn from the likes of Jerry Uelsmann. Final statement. Find someone's work that you really admire and learn everything you can about them, and then bribe them into letting you visit. I believe that's the case with Joel Grimes. I must admit, at this time, I said I wanted to meet Joel. I wanted to go to his studio. I wanted to see what he did. I wanted to see everything. I bribed him with free software. I've admitted it there publicly. I've admitted.
It's all right.
Did you
it's
know?
Just between us. Don't worry. It's between us.
This was before the rules. There's a current rule. I cannot bribe anyone. I cannot distribute software for my own personal gain. I didn't. I distributed software for Adobe's gain.
Of course.
Okay. There we have it. There, I'm closing with that.
Well, before we close, obviously, one thing I want to just quickly ask you, because it was an important thing I think we talked about beforehand, and it was just to do with the kit. For those people who are looking to do stuff with their phone, can you just quickly show what kit you've got, and there is a reason why you use it?
Number one, if you're shooting with a phone, I'm going to slap you in public if I see you. If you don't have some sort of device that grips your phone and something that goes around your wrist so that it's secure. This is called a beast grip. It's one word, beast grip. It looks like an ugly cage because it is an ugly cage, but you can drop it on the ground. You can put it on a tripod. You can grip it. You can hang over a boat and it won't fall out. You can drop it into water. You've got a grip around it. The second one is Shift Cam. It's another grip. It's not quite as sturdy, but it comes with a trigger for triggering Bluetooth. Your phone slips inside this one. He slips the phone inside. There it is.
Oh, right. Okay.
And and you can rotate this way. It comes with a wristband and you can trigger it and it rotates. But once again, this is the way to take photographs. Is you want to be able to take your photographs. I can't get back in. Okay, you want to be able to for creativity's sake, you want to shoot with this trigger, and you want to be able to rotate quickly and move around your subject. If I see anybody who's listening to this conversation, if I see Ian out with his phone and he's trying to take photographs and he's trying to hold the phone like this and then he's trying to push the screen, I'm going to slap Ian. I'm going to slap him so hard he's going to drop his phone.
You might regret saying that. He's a big lad. He's a big lad.
Okay.
Yeah, you might.
Okay.
But from a
big lad.
It's a emotional slap. Yeah, we get that.
I wouldn't slap you. No, I was just using him because he was there. But I'll slap you. Get a grip on yourself if you're going to be a mobile phone photographer. You're going to be much more creative and much safer. Because as I told you, I tried before I was smart enough. I dropped a phone in the Antarctic Ocean. And there's another thing, bring 2 phones with you everywhere you go. And the first day of the trip to Antarctica, and I dropped the phone in the water. Oh, well. Okay. So kit, a grip, strobes, if you like strobes. I did like your constant lights. Don't get too much equipment that's going to weigh you down as a mobile photographer. Keep it light, keep it simple. Yeah. And
Cool.
yeah, those are my words of wisdom. Find
Brilliant.
a great model. We both agree on finding a great model. And,
definitely.
Which is super important.
And also, I think the overriding message, as well as what you're saying there, is I think I could possibly speak for everybody in the chat there, that the overriding message here is just be active, just get out there, keep doing it, keep putting stuff together, keep working, keep thinking, keep being creative. Yeah.
And borrow from as many people as you can.
Yeah. Russell, I did a book called Photograph Like a Thief, and it was all about copying other people's work to be able to do your own. So
I forgot about your book. Wow. Yeah. So I'm not ashamed, as long as you tell the person. I think they'll admire you for the fact that you are that you are being influenced by their work. Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm sure we could. Hey, I have another hour's worth I could chat with you on, but
well, maybe we'll get you on again then. Well, there's no maybe, but at some point, let's get you back, because then we can do another promo with new content.
And did I happen to mention Rocky Montez Carr? Because I'm under contractual agreement that if I don't mention his name several times, then
you might
he won't help me. Okay.
However, do you know, as well as Rocky, there's our friend Jay Grammon's in the chat, and he's put here, I loved working with and watching Doc work with his smartphone last summer in the Badlands of South Dakota.
Oh, Badlands and he's got some amazing models out there. I was writing him the other day. He had the character come up on the screen, and of course, see there, Jay is the example of someone who inspires you. He brings up this prospector, trapper, I think was sort of like a trapper outfit. And my brain just exploded with what would I do with that model? And yeah, I do need to get out there. Jay, you're right. I need to do a session in the Dakotas. It's an iPhone only photography session. If you come to class with a DSLR or mirrorless, I slap you. No. I bring Ian in, and he slaps you.
Never to wake up again. Just so that you know, because obviously you've mentioned Rocky. I think you've definitely stuck to the contract there, and you've mentioned him. Yes, but just to clarify, Rocky still says, I love him. There you go. So you're in the clear. All right, you're in the clear.
Rocky works for Adobe. He works in the Lightroom for the web team. And so be sure and use Lightroom for the web. Check it out. Pretty cool capabilities on the web version of Lightroom. What did I say? Web version of Photoshop. He works on the team for the web version
Lightroom on the brain. Lightroom on the brain. Well, Russell, I know that you are an incredibly busy man. I remember this. I'm amazed that your phone hasn't been going and stuff, because last time we spoke, you were just like so in demand. So
you'll be impressed. I went into.
I'm not pushing my luck here that it hasn't rung. So I know we're gonna have to draw this to an end. But
a pleasure.
Just a reminder then, where would you suggest when people want to kind of keep up with what you're doing? Are you saying that the best place, Instagram?
Is Instagram, dr_Brown. Oh, I got to put in my pitch for Adobe Max. If you're over in the Florida region, or you really want to take an amazing class that includes some instructors that have been many of your guests, Jesus Ramirez and Lisa Carney. They'll appear in my class and be teaching at Adobe Max. And I have a hands-on pre-conference course that it's like nothing else on the planet. And the results from class then go on display for the 15,000 other people to look at. So definitely a class to check out. But wonderful. Instagram and my class on the web. At Adobe Max. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Well, I'm going to we'll draw this to an end. Don't disappear completely. You'll see me doing a few things, but just wait till I get back to you while I just wrap this up. But Russell, from me and clearly, clearly from everybody else as well in the chat, it's been brilliant. I knew it was going to be, but people have loved this. They really have, and I can tell you now that I was with Ian today. And he's had an interesting time this last couple of weeks. But Ian has said, tonight's been great. I've had my spirits lifted and I'm honoured to have been slapped by the doctor. There you go. And I know that this would have been good for him. He's had a laugh. He's been mentioned, and rightfully so. I will send you a link to some of Ian's work, by the way. And you'll be like, oh, hello.
Do I get any bonus points for being half English and half, I have a really good, solid English. My mother's side, all English. So
whereabouts does she originate from?
Oh, you're gonna I'm to look that up. Hold on. I don't know exactly.
We'll get back to that. All right. Okay. Well, listen, Russell. Again, thank you so much. Thanks for squeezing this in. I will see you in the virtual green room in a moment, but I'm gonna play out in a short while with your promo. So,
okay, go.
Thank you, and Goodbye. Thank you from everybody. All right. I'll mute you, and I'll be back with you in a moment. I knew that was going to be good, but my God, isn't he amazing? Amazing, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And that it makes you, I can tell, I now feel restless and I want to get out and do stuff. And I can just see from the way the comments have gone in there that it inspires you, doesn't it? When you sort of get to see somebody like Russell who is just loving doing what he's doing, it just rubs off and it makes you want to get out there and get on with stuff like this. And that's why it's important. Not everybody's got a Russell. Not everybody's got access to a Russell. But what I will say is you can get equally inspired just by getting together with your mates every now and again. Don't do this on your own. Get together. Like today, me and my friends, we've got together, and it never fails to motivate all of us. Even if we just get together for a coffee and we just run ideas past each other, when you leave, you feel motivated and you need that. And that helps your creativity. So I encourage you to do it. I have benefited massively from hanging around with my friends. I really, really have. So I encourage you to do that. So do that if you haven't got access to Russell. All right. But just to wrap up then, just a quick reminder, don't forget that the printing course will definitely be available for pre-order from Friday coming up this week. It'll be available there. The other thing to mention was, don't forget to have a look up if you haven't already, the behind the scenes of the portrait shoot that I did of my friend Anthony, who's in the chat. I'm loving that 55mm lens and the constant lighting. I'm also going to be posting probably tomorrow the recent picture that I did, the one I did today of our friend Foxy using the same technique. So I'm looking forward to working on that. Next week, I am back next week. And by popular demand, because you'll remember those of you tuned in on the first time, he got through 1/3 of what he wanted to go through. So next Sunday, 7 p.m. UK, Bert is back. And it is literally going to be a teaching session. He wants to teach us stuff on layers and brushes in Photoshop. So that one I am really looking forward to. I think that'll be a case of me doing his promo, putting his camera on and just sitting back and taking notes because he just wants to teach. That's just what he wants to do, which will be fantastic. So looking forward to that. But folks, thank you so much for joining me this week again for another fabulous live guest. Like I said, I'll be back next week, 7 p.m. UK, same place. You'll see the stuff going out throughout the week to advertise it. My thanks yet again to Russell for just being Russell. Absolutely brilliant. And I shall play out with his promo. So those of you who are going to watch the football, you've got plenty of time in the UK. I'll see you next week.